You put $10,000 in Jordan's hands to have him sign 15 Sports Illustrated covers in the Bahamas at a golf tournament. And tell me what happened?
Wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it. Mickey Mantle, he has a beautiful looking autograph. I see Wayne Gretzky. It's autographed, of course.
Me and LeBron, he's got his cast on.
Game used jersey versus France.
This is the Sistine Chapel Sports Illustrated cover. It's a 4-page fold-out of the greatest, most iconic athletes and moments in sports history. Mays, Hank Aaron, Koufax, Jeter, Tanya Harding, Larry Bird, Havlicek, Bucky Dent, Pedro, Steinbrenner, Buckner, Dennis Rodman. There's like a kind of a controversial corner with Rodman, Tyson, Tanya Harding. 49ers dynasty next to that, signed by OJ, Steve Young in Montana, Jim Brown, Gifford, Dean Smith, Larry Brown, Carl Lewis.
Who's the most recent addition on here?
I just got Greg Norman on it this summer. Tiger Woods, who I do not have on it yet.
Where would you even fit him on there?
Michael Jordan. Those are the only two that are still alive that I don't have on here.
What do you think this is worth?
I don't even know.
I'm going to go film with one of the largest Sports Illustrated collectors in the entire world. I'm going to go into New Jersey today, and I'm going to go see my friend Scott Smith, a.k.a. SI King, a.k.a. Sports Illustrated King. This is an old-time friend. He and I actually used to autograph in Tahoe. He's met Michael Jordan and gotten Michael Jordan to sign over 100 magazines, and I'm going to get the story from him. He has stories flying to Iceland to meet the national soccer team. Every time a Sports Illustrated is released, this gentleman has a mission and a plan to buy the magazines out enough to where he can get them signed, and then he sells the extras and keeps a couple for his PC. I'm going to show you guys this collector, and trust me, you guys do not want to miss out. This is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. LeBron's rookie, so tell me about this.
So LeBron came into New Jersey, a junior in high school for the ABCD camp. Used to be a big thing back in the day. This cover had just come out. Yeah, old school. So I met him at the hotel. Couldn't have been any nicer. He had his hand in his cast. Met him and his mom. The three of us were together. He signed 15 of these for me.
So tell me about this. That's you and LeBron.
Me and LeBron. He's got his cast on. His mom took the photo of the two of us.
Okay.
And then I was thinking that I should probably have a photo of me and his mom so that if I ever see LeBron in the future, I can show him this photo and use it to my advantage.
And have you shown him this photo before?
Yes.
Do you think you'll get Bronny?
Eventually. What
do you think you'll tell him? Will you mention anything about his dad, or?
I'll have to bring these pictures and say, when you were 15, when your dad was 15, we hooked up, and your grandma, he'll get a kick out of this.
That's a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great. Love that. As a collector, we love to be organized. You got to have the right pen. Things are alphabetical. When you think of organization, what do you think of with your Sports Illustrated?
Everything in my own personal one-of-a-kind collection is by date. So 1954 was the first issue. Personal collection starts August of 1954 and then goes through current. All in succession, one of every single cover, about 95% of the history of the magazine I have signed. Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
There's one. There's another.
And these are all just like, are those the only two he has?
No, he's on about 6.
And you have
6 or 7.
Oh, you have more.
There's another.
Peyton Manning.
Manning, I think I only have 1.
Peyton, look at
It was signed by Demarius, who just passed away.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yep. Got a lot of glare there. Manziel,
documentary's coming out.
Yep.
That's gonna be big.
1955.
Wow. That's cool.
Oldie but a goodie.
Right?
That's when guys used to know how to write.
Why do you think a lot of guys are sloppier with the signatures versus the older guys? Do you think it's just a shift?
Probably part lazy. Probably part education, where they're not teaching cursive anymore. I just think guys just see dollar signs and don't want to put much effort into it, even though they're getting paid.
Who has the best looking autograph?
Mariano Rivera, Harmon Killebrew, Goose Gossage. Old-time football and baseball players really took the time, and like a nice John Hancock autograph, they always took their time.
I noticed most of these magazines are signed in blue. Tell me about blue with is the way. There you go.
There's Joe Namath. Every letter. Every time. Blue seems to be the standard. Seen black Sharpie fade over years of time, so I've always stuck with blue for that reason. If it's a super dark cover, I'll stick with silver if I have to, but for the most part, it'll be It'll be blue Sharpie. Braun, Upton, Tulowitzki, Jacoby Ellsbury, Buchholz, and Zimmerman.
Do you have all of them?
All 6 are signed.
Who was the toughest one on this?
I'd say Jacoby Ellsbury.
Jacoby, of course he is.
Not too nice of a guy. Never has been. Still to this day, not that nice. Zimmerman was great. Buchholz was tough, but gettable. Now he plays some celebrity golf tournaments. He's a piece of cake. Tulo was always pretty nice. Upton, nice. Braun was always pretty nice.
What's the factor that goes into these new guys getting on SIs?
It's popularity. It's relevancy. You know, the Yanks were always, if you're a Yankee, you're always a big time player. Jeter made a ton of them. He personalized this one, 2 champ. It was in his personalizing days.
When you say personalizing days, tell me about that. What does that mean?
I guess he figures it's all going to be for sale, and he's like, I want a name. So
there you go.
Gave him champ. Here's one with Johnny Damon.
That's a cool one. He has a beautiful looking autograph.
Yeah, it's a nice graph. A-Rod. Those are 3 of them. He's on about probably 10 covers.
10 covers?
Yep.
P. Rose.
Rose is on a bunch.
Ooh, he's got some great ones for autographs. Yep. That's a beautiful cover. That's a nice one when it gets signed.
Yep. Sportsman of the Year, 1975.
Wow. And you started collecting the SIs. What year was the Gretzky? Was what, 82?
82.
That was the first time.
First one, and it was a Sportsman of the Year issue.
Wow.
78. 79 with the Phillies.
Sheesh.
Little throwback cover in 2014. And then a multi-cover with Tony Perez and Joe Morgan with the Phils.
All right, what do we got?
Back in the heyday, 1987.
Harold Strawberry.
Strawberry and Mattingly.
All right, tell me about.
They were easy enough for me to get.
I noticed that you have a non-SI autograph, Paul Newman.
Yeah, good story. I was at the Hyatt one night in New York City, waiting for the the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team. I can't remember who I needed, but across the street was a very high-end restaurant called Cipriani. Flash bulbs going off. It was crazy. And then about 10 minutes later, as someone leaves, all the paparazzi is shooting them. Paul Newman slides out the side and starts walking up 42nd Street.
Wow.
Having nothing for him, and my favorite movie being Slapshot, I had him sign a piece of cardboard that was underneath my magazines that keeps my magazines flat. I heard he was always a tough autograph, but he was very nice to me that night. He signed my cut, and now I've matted it up with a Paul Newman shot from Slapshot.
I noticed a big thing about autograph collectors is we like to be prepared. There's times when you can't be prepared. Like you might pull like a note card or something like that. I mean, that's
index card.
You gotta get something signed, right? You can't let them walk by.
People carry baseballs just for that reason in their cars, or carry a baseball with them at all times.
Do you carry an index card or no?
No, I used to. I used to have a stack of, let's say, a dozen index cards just in case, but I don't anymore.
Who was the most random run-in that you ever had? That was like amazing.
Probably Newman.
Newman.
Big time star.
Really?
Yeah.
So I see some game used gloves.
Boise State.
Boise State. I remember this cover.
A big deal in 2010.
This is?
Yep.
So tell me about this.
You got Ryan Winterswick, Brandon Thompson, who played with the Redskins, and Jerron Johnson, who had a nice career with the Seahawks. So these 3 guys came out on a cover. And then you also had Billy Wynn, who played with the Broncos for a while. You had Aaron Tevis, Chase Baker, who played a year with the Vikings.
Which one's Chase Baker?
He's this one here, 97.
97. And those are his gloves.
Aaron Tevis gave me the gloves.
Aaron Tevis gave you the gloves.
Chase gave me a sweatshirt. I flew out to Boise, Idaho. I never think I'd go be in Idaho my whole life. They all signed 10, 12 magazines each for me. Took pictures with them all. Had a great time in Ohio. Went to the game, saw the Blue Smurf field.
So I know this, but I know you know this. Adrian Peterson, one of the nicest guys.
Great dude.
So this photo is a classic.
I've known Adrian since he came in for the Heisman Trophy Award. The last time he was in with the Redskins, he comes over, signs. I was like, if you need something, let me know. I'm only here for you. I got you if you need a ride to the mall or somewhere else. He's like, that's great, thank you. 8 o'clock meetings hit. He goes to his meetings. At 9 o'clock, he runs down to the lobby looking for me. He's like, I need some chew. He jumps in the car. We go ride around a little bit.
He goes with you.
Jumps in the car. We're riding around looking for chew. Thank me for driving around. He just signs everything I have.
He has a beautiful autograph.
It's nice.
Stunning. All right, let's fly through them. Let's see it.
A few different covers.
Whoa.
That's
the short sig, yeah?
Yep.
That's the full
That's
name?
the better one.
That's beautiful.
Last one.
How often does that happen? The story is better than the autographs.
I prefer the autographs, of course. That's my goal. But I've got such a million stories over 40 years that one day I'd like to write a book. Got to get a publisher to do that.
This is the personal PC stuff, correct?
A lot of PC in here, a lot of extra basketball, hockey, golf, tennis, swimsuits, and so forth.
So first thing I saw when I walked in here is I see Wayne Gretzky. It's autographed, of course. But this isn't just like a fat head. This is like...
Yeah, it's a 6-foot wooden mounted cutout. There was a sporting goods store that went out of business. I obtained this and then ran down to the King's Hotel one year, lugging this big thing, and Gretzky and his teammates got a kick out of it, running with a 6-foot cutout through a parking lot, trying to get it signed, and he hooked it up nice. Mickey Mantle's always been a great. Here's his rookie SI cover.
He has a beautiful looking autograph.
June of 1956.
How was he about signing autographs?
He was cranky. He wasn't nice.
I've seen the Muhammad Ali stuff here. Well, he wrote you a full note. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
You got a photo with him. Muhammad Ali, he was a nice guy.
The greatest. Literally the greatest. That's why they call him the greatest. That photo up there was a day that me and my buddy Mike Daly, was a New York City cop. We knew he was at the Sheraton in New York. We gave him a phone call, invited us to his room. He signed 55 covers for me, SI covers for me.
You called his hotel?
Called him up. We were in the lobby, called his room.
What did you say to him?
Just told him, I'm here with a cop. We both would love to meet him. And back in 1988, 1990, it wasn't as crazy as it is today. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And knowing that he's such a nice guy, we knew he'd answer the phone. We knew he'd invite us up. He did.
So he wrote this handwritten letter to you?
Scott Smith from Muhammad Ali, 3 times heavyweight boxing championship of the... He drew a picture of the world.
Wow.
And the greatest boxer of all time. After me, there will never be another. Drew a boxing ring.
Oh.
Love is the net where hearts are caught like fish. And then dated at 8/16/89.
So explain that to me. Did he write, did you ask him to write all that? Or?
I did not, no. I asked him if he would sign a few things in the mail, and that's what he wrote back to me, as well. Signed a couple magazines and some photos. In 1987, he signed at Elaine's restaurant in New York City. If he had a big crowd or he was in a rush, maybe 1 out of 10 times I wouldn't get him, but 9 out of 10 times he'd stop and sign. He loved making people happy. He loved to sign. He used to love putting smiles on people's faces. I remember him saying he'd put him like one step closer to God.
Who's this?
Yeah, that's Yamila Diaz.
So why is that one up?
Every year I used to get invited to go to the SI swimsuit party. I knew the editors pretty well from doing a little work for them, and they'd give me an invite to go, and at the end of the night, I'd be able to walk out with a little 30 by 40 poster of the cover girls.
Wow.
She's the one that was hanging on in the tsunami, Petra Nemkova. Her boyfriend passed away in the tsunami, but she made it by hugging onto a tree.
Wow.
They're all sweethearts, every one of them.
All right, so tell me about, who do we got here?
This one here, Irina Shayk.
I remember her. That was when I was in high school.
Cristiano Ronaldo. She lived down on Perry Street in New York City. So one night I went in, and I know she's got a dog. So you got to figure the dog's got to get walked at least once or twice an evening, after dinner, maybe before bed. So I just put in an hour or two, and within about a half an hour, she's walking her dog in the streets of New York City. Blake Griffin. This guy, Tyler
okay.
Hansbrough.
Dude, you got this guy to sign. I'm in shock right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now,
brutal.
I don't know how you got this signed. I'm a chaser. I'm an autograph chaser, and I cannot believe you got Tyler Hansbrough. He is one of the toughest autographs.
Yeah, for some reason, I flew down to a Father's Day UNC camp down in Chapel Hill.
Let me see some of these.
Met him, hooked up with him, and he just liked me. For whatever reason, he always took care of me.
Listen, I chased autographs when he was a rookie. Begged him to sign one time when he was on the Pacers. Didn't happen. How many other SI collectors are there out there? I'm talking real deal, like what you're doing right here.
Yeah, the real deal, have to have everything. There's probably, 20 or 30. Mailman Malone.
Wasn't he tough, though?
He was brutally tough. Told him I had a bar and asked him for his shoes, his game-used shoes.
You asked for his game shoes.
He's the first player to ever give me a pair of game-used sneakers.
I already see who's on the front of this.
KD.
Tell me about KD.
KD in his first few years, again, just super, super nice. I still think he signs, but he's just
He's a little tougher,
tough.
But he's been...
Very tough.
From my experience, Kevin Durant was always cool. That's Nenad Kristic, Thabo Sefolosha, and Durant.
Yeah, good pick.
If you had to pick one basketball player who was the best signer for you, who was it?
Barry's one of them. I mean, there's tons though. John Stark's the local guy. He always takes the time to sign at golf outings. And
who was the worst?
Bill Russell. I never got.
You never got Bill.
Paid for it. Jamar was always very, very tough. LeBron, Jordan, very tough.
How about Kobe? Do you have any Kobe's?
Kobe, I have on every one of his covers. He's on 21 covers. I have 20 of them signed. All my collection.
Oh, you found it. Oh my goodness.
Kobe and Kid.
Oh.
That's kind of a sloppy graph, like a K and a B. This one's signed a little nicer.
Clean. All right, tell me about Kobe. What was Kobe like?
Kobe was very cool for a long time and then got real bad.
When you say real bad, like
wouldn't sign, but the Lakers were in their heyday with Shaq, and it was just a zoo. 40, 50 collectors at the hotel every time.
What was a good year? When was the good times?
His first few years, he was real good. After he retired, he was still not as accessible, but he would still do it.
There it is, iconic.
Jason Williams was brutally tough. That might be a paid signature.
I had to pay for mine.
Doug Christie was always pretty nice.
He was kind of off and on.
Chris Webber was tough. He's done a few golf tournaments since, and I've gotten him to sign those. And
Pedro
Stoyakovic, right?
Yep.
Is that his last name?
You got it.
I believe he was always pretty good. I don't think I ever had a problem with him.
All right, so what do we got here?
Vasily Alexiev. For all you old schools that used to watch Wide World of Sports on ABC.
What an autograph.
Yeah, the Russian weightlifting Olympic champion from like 72, 76. What I was told by his son is that he only made about $200 or $300 a month. So for me to offer him $2,000 was like a year's worth of money.
All right, so I see you're on here with all the SIs. So you went in for a photo shoot.
SI wanted to include me in a coffee table book for their 50th anniversary of their covers. So they brought me into a studio. They had me bring about 200 of my magazines, for which they laid out on the floor and took a shot from about 30 feet up on a ladder, so that they could then create a slide and then project it on me standing against a white wall. And that's the end result, where they've got all the magazines.
So that's just you just have your hands on your sides and they put that in there. It kind of looks like a blanket.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool photo.
If you had your own Sports Illustrated, would you not sign it? You'd sign it.
Of course.
For free?
Yes.
Really? Dang. Do you think we could pitch a story to Sports Illustrated to get you on the SI cover? Have you tried to push for it?
Yeah, no, never. They're a monthly publication now. It's kind of like a dying breed. I don't think anyone buys print anymore. 50 issues a year for their whole career, even up to 120 with regional issues. My favorite rock band, The Cars, had all 5 of them sign it back in
What is that song they have? Just What I Needed?
Oh, they got humongous hits.
And then you painted this, Costello?
Elvis Costello, yeah.
Did you sign that?
Elvis did.
What?
Me.
What did he? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Jordan has known me since about 82. His first cover came out in December of 82. Couldn't have been any nicer as a player. First, second, third year. 51 different SI covers. 51 different ones from 82 till current.
And how many do you have signed?
I have 36 of them done.
Wow.
We were down the Bahamas. Every year he threw a golf tournament. I caught him at an outside hole, him and Spike Lee.
You would fly to the Bahamas to see Michael Jordan.
Correct. But he also had guys like Dr. J, John McEnroe, Pujols, Jeter, Roethlisberger. He had huge names down there. So it was an autograph paradise.
In your mind, why did you need to go to the Bahamas to see Michael Jordan?
No other collectors. I'm the only one down there. There might have been 2 or 3 other pros, but there were no other collectors. No one's
hounding him.
Savvy enough to go get a passport and fly to the Bahamas back in 1990.
All right, so you're on a flight to the Bahamas. You already have over 30 plus magazines autographed by this time.
Right.
And in your mind, you brought $10,000 with you.
Right.
And tell me what happened.
The $10,000 was a small gesture. I know it means nothing to him. It's a poker chip to him. But $10,000, I caught him, Spike Lee, out on an open hole. It's just the 3 of us. I put the money in his hand. He saw me, gave me a hug. I told him I need 15 more to finish my collection. I told him I could personalize it if he wants to. He tells me, I've already gotten enough. Spike Lee kind of shakes his head. I'm shaking my head. Now I'm going at him saying, you got $100 million in the bank. Did you really need $200 million?
You said that to Jordan.
Didn't you have enough? So now he understands a little bit about my collection, why I needed these other 15 done. I said, you had 3 rings. Did you really need 4? Didn't you have enough? I said, you had 5. Did you have enough? He understood. He's still polite, but he just wouldn't do it for me.
When was the last time you met Michael Jordan?
That was the last time.
That was it?
I've face-to-face, he didn't know it was me, but in Lake Tahoe, when he used to play in that golf tournament, I would kind of, hat down low or, in between. He would sign on Friday, Saturday, Sunday only. I'd get in between some big guys like yourself and just stick my hand out, and he wouldn't know that I'm there.
And you got him.
And I'd get him, 5 to 6 times every year he played.
So in a situation like that where you need 15, maybe 20 more magazines, what's your plan?
I don't have one right now. I mean, when I needed 30, I would get 5 or 6 a year, and now I'm down to 15. So I kept whittling away every year out in Tahoe, or if he'd come into New York, at least 10 years since I've gotten him to sign anything.
Is this the first SI, the NBA one that he was on?
Yes.
So tell me about this. He wrote best wishes on there. Do you remember what that was like when you met him that day?
Yeah, it was probably a crowd of maybe 15, 20 collectors at the Bulls Hotel in New Jersey. I remember it vividly. It was 1984, their first trip in, or second trip in, and he signed for basically every collector out in the lobby or outside the front door of the hotel. And the first 2 to 3 years as a pro, he was very nice, and then he started to blow up, and then it got pretty impossible.
What about at the end of his career with the Wizards? Did you ever get him?
Never went for him.
Never went for
You
him.
just knew that he shut it down after all those championships. He didn't sign at all.
Did people just know not to ask him for an autograph at some point?
Oh, there were plenty of people that still went for him. It was just a waste of time because they weren't getting him. I just knew not to show up.
For someone like this, why do you think he cut it off? Like, what made him not want to sign anymore versus guys that signed till they Cal Ripken, the guys like that, or that were signing toward the end of their careers?
The fame, the crowds, the security, and I'm sure Upper Deck paying him a lot of money every year, as an exclusive, probably has something to do with it. Probably the money. He just knew that he was giving away, at the time, a $300 bill, a $500 bill, a $1,000 bill. Every time he signs, he's giving away money. Maybe he considers that, something he doesn't want to do, or maybe he's honoring his Upper Deck agreement. I have no idea.
What was your favorite memory with Michael Jordan?
At the Marriott Marquis, I had one of the security guys very friendly with. He'd tell me what floor he was on. I knew he was on the 45th floor, so I'd go up there before morning shoot around. I was the only one at the elevators. He comes out. It's just the 2 of us riding in an elevator down to the lobby. I kind of elbowed the floor buttons to make the ride go a little longer, and we stopped. No one got on. We stopped again. No one got on. The whole time he's signing for me. He signed 20 things by the time we got down to the lobby. The third time, the door opened up, and no one got on. He knew what I was doing. He said, "Cut the shit," and he was joking about it. We had a laugh. But by the time we got down to the lobby, he signed 20 SIs for me. He was always great. His first few years, he was great.
You have a one-on-one experience. What do you tell him? And do you bring money again?
I won't bring money. He doesn't need the money. He's a billionaire, so money isn't going to do it. But if I'm in a room with him alone and it's some kind of charity thing and I got my 15, 16 SIs, he'll recognize me. He'll know what I'm there for. Again, it's been over 10 years since I've seen him, but I'd ask him again, personalize them, tell them they're not for sale, and see if he'd do them. Maybe bring a couple articles of Sports Illustrated that I was in about my collection, or some newspapers that I was in, just to show him that I'm still collecting after 40 years, and whether he does it or not, it's up to him.
And you would keep every single one he signs?
Yes, until my entire collection sells as one.
You even have met current and former presidents.
Right.
And for example, right here, you were able to meet Ronald Reagan. And he's on a cover with
Patrick Ewing and John Thompson, Georgetown, when they won the national championship.
All right, tell me about meeting Ronald Reagan.
Reagan was in town at Covenant House, kind of like a homeless institution or place of business for homeless people. As I'm waiting outside, Secret Service kind of tells me to leave. As I'm getting back on my motorcycle, the Secret Service that told me to leave, they left. So it's as if I didn't hear anything, I just stayed there. There's about 20 or 30 paparazzi across the street, and as Reagan exited the building, I kind of walked 2-3 feet into the street and just yelled his name, President Reagan, holding out my 2 Sports Illustrateds that he's on. I go walking up, everyone's shooting photos. It couldn't have been any nicer. Obviously, he's out of office at the time. But he signed the 2 and went on my way.
And were you starstruck?
Yeah, it was a little rough getting back on the motorcycle. It took me about 10 minutes. I was like shaking a little bit meeting a president. This is the first time I ever met a president.
Wow.
So it was a little, whether it's Jordan or any football, baseball, basketball star, this was a little bit of a bigger deal for me at the time. This was 1989, so.
And you write on the back of these so you can remember them.
Right.
So he actually has all the info right on the back. So on something like this, would you sell this?
No. Personal collection will never be sold unless it's sold as one.
I can describe it like this. Iceland World Cup team. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, back in 2018, SI put out some regional covers for soccer players from the World Cup team in Iceland. So I flew to Iceland knowing that I'd never have a shot to come here. So I got a $300 round trip ticket. It was cake.
To Reykjavik?
To Reykjavik. There are no autograph collectors in Iceland. So I'm basically the only one from the airport driving to Reykjavik to try and find these guys. And it was only one major Hilton hotel. They had 2 games within 5 days. Found the hotel. The first day there, I brought about 24 or 30 copies of this magazine. 3 of the players were there. 1 guy was hurt. He stayed home in England. So over the course of about 5 or 6 hours, they came down for lunch, came down for breakfast, then went for a walkthrough. 3 of the 4 players I met, and all of them signed every issue I brought. Once they understood I came from America.
So what'd you tell them? You said I came from America. What else?
Yes, told them I had a huge collection. Flew over just to meet them. A huge collection, about 20,000 signed SIs back to 1954. They all thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I also brought them 16 by 20s of the cover as a gift. So they
You
each
gave them
got
a gift?
Yeah, they each got one because they had never seen the finished product yet.
Oh, wow.
So I went over, gave them a little gift. I made friends with the one guy, Ragnar Sigurdsson.
So which one is he?
He's in the top right corner. I grabbed all of their email addresses, told them I'd stay in touch. And I knew because one guy was hurt,
This
I'd
guy
have
right
to come
here?
back. Yeah, Ragnar.
Sigurdsson?
Yep.
Okay.
So a year later, the 4th guy is now playing with the team, and they've got a game against France and a game against Belgium in Iceland. This time I go back with my family. I bring my wife and girls with me. We take a vacation. As soon as I land, we go right to the hotel. The player I'm missing is right there as soon as I walk in.
And which one is he? The guy...
He was Johan Berg Gudmundsson, the guy in the middle.
This guy right here in the middle.
But prior to going on my second trip to Reykjavik, I emailed Ragnar, and I said...
That's Ragnar, right?
Ragnar's top right.
Okay.
I was like, I'm coming back to Iceland. Is there anything that you want? And I said, I tried to hit him up. I said, I want a game jersey. For me coming back there, I'd like to have a game jersey as a memento. I was like, is there anything I can bring you? And he said he wanted a bottle of Brooklyn gin. It's a small batch, sky blue bottle. It's a beautiful bottle if you look it up. And that's what he wanted.
And you brought it.
And I went out and bought it. I had to go to New York to get it. I had to check a bag in just to bring liquid in the airplane. All right, because you can't have it in a carry-on. So I had to check it in to bring it across the sea. And I met him before the game in the hotel, gave him his bottle, and then he told me to come back after the game to meet at the hotel, and that's the end result.
And this is it. He gave you this jersey. So this is a game-used jersey versus France.
Dated it, signed it.
Did you, and you, that's what you wanted, and he brought it to you?
Yeah, had it waiting for me right after the game.
Is this your first, like, game-used soccer jersey?
Yep, only one.
Wow, it actually has all the dates and everything.
Yep.
You keeping this for the PC?
Yes.
How often do you talk to him?
Once every few months, just to say hello. He just had a baby, so I wished him well.
You went all the way to Iceland for this journey.
For autographs, yeah. It's only a 6-hour flight. It's like me going to California.
That's a level of passion that's
Sure.
beyond what the normal collector does at home with their sports cards.
Right. Well, if an SI comes out and there's people from Iceland, no one's going to have an opportunity to get them. So you've got to go to Iceland.
And you're willing to go to any lengths to get
Sure.
these signed.
Sure. Again, I can, for a $300 round trip ticket, maybe I spent another $1,000 for, food and drink and the consignment, knowing that I've got 25 or 30 of them done. I was charging, let's say, $300 to get them done for other collectors that need it, to save them from flying to Iceland, the headache of finding them, the time. If I charge them $300 a piece, I get let's say 12 of them signed for 12 collectors that are paying me $300 a piece. That's $3,600. So if
you're the middleman, you're making it happen.
Right.
And they can trust you because you film some of it, you tell the story. Right. To me, as an autograph collector, the story is the best part. I mean, and you got literally memorabilia straight off the back. I mean, that's amazing.
Plus, I got to see Iceland. The most amazing, like the whole country only has 300,000 people living in it. So it's just it's like going to Mars. It's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
So real quick, when you had him sign this, did you have him write that?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had him write game used from the game against France.
So we got Diego Maradona here. So tell me about this. This issue is from what?
This is 1986. This was a crazy, crazy story. Me and my buddy Sam, the other SI King, we're World Cups in America. We go up to Massachusetts. They stayed and were housed in dormitories. The Argentinian team where they had local police closing off the campus. They had state police on campus. And then they had Argentinian National Guards with rifles in the corners of the dormitories and on the soccer field. My buddy Sam and I got into the parking lot somehow. We talked our way into the campus, identified where the soccer fields were. We saw the team having a practice, and once they ended, it was an elevated field. We saw the whole team walk downstairs. Diego stayed on the field in a golf cart with his wife and kids, and we're just rolling around having fun. 2 or 3 guys from the National Guard with rifles at the bottom of the stairs, and there were 2 or 3 at the top of the stairs.
Just to protect him?
To protect him and the team. So Sam and I are kind of like in a wooded area with binoculars, watching, waiting for it to end. As soon as we get into as soon as he's done at the top of the steps, he starts walking down the stairs. We kind of hustle a little closer without anyone seeing us, peek out behind like a satellite TV truck, and I just yelled, "Diego, por favor," as loud as I could. He heard us, he saw us. The security also saw us, but they also saw him wave us over.
Wow.
So we got a little private audience with him for about 30 seconds. He signed 2 covers for me, 1 for my buddy Sam, and we were lucky enough to get it done.
What is this?
Maybe with love or...
With love, my best? I don't know.
It's Diego Maradona, colon something.
What was your first experience with Sports Illustrated?
My grandmother gave me a subscription in 1973. So as any pack rat, you would just save your baseball cards, your bottle caps. My Sports Illustrated got stacked in a closet from 73 for 10 years. So I always saved them and never threw them away. I'd always want to see Phil Esposito or Ron Duguay outside the Madison Square Garden after a Ranger game and get an autograph on a piece of paper or a puck or something. And then one day I knew that the Edmonton Oilers were staying locally at a hotel. I pulled out my Wayne Gretzky Sports Illustrated that I had stashed in my closet, went down to the hotel. My mother dropped me off for the day. Hooked up with Gretzky, Messier, Kevin Lowe, Craig McTavish, all the old school guys. I was actually in the hotel bar playing video games with them while they were waiting for the bus.
Do you ever worry about with Sports Illustrated that you might not be able to get all of them signed, but what's like the main goal when you think of just doing this and the new SIs are coming out every week? Like,
the good thing is that most of these guys will do paid signings. So now that I've had a regular life, from owning a bar to finance for 20 years, it's a $100 autograph, $200 autograph. It's not that inexpensive to me. So with doing signings also and helping other collectors, any type of profit that I make will typically pay for my autograph. So, for me to go chase a Bryce Harper who just doesn't sign, it's not worth my time. I'd rather just pay him through Fanatics or whoever has them. Football players, I'll go see them at their hotel. I can get them kind of easily. If they're really hard, I'll just pay for it at a show.
What's the pull with chasing? Like, I'm a chaser myself. Obviously, I know the feeling, the rush. Like, for you, what is it in chasing that you like versus, like, you could pay Bryce Harper $300 to $500. What's the difference? It's just
the interaction with the guys. It's hanging out with other collectors like yourself or any of the guys in Lake Tahoe or New Jersey or Philly or New York. I've got a good core group of guys that I'm very friendly with. The banter all day long, whether we get it or we don't, I still had a good day. But for the most part, if you're successful at the end of the day, it's like fishing. You could sit in a lake for 7 hours, have a 6-pack, have some good stories, enjoy your day. Whether you catch a fish or not doesn't matter. Still had a good day. Same thing with autographs. Most of the time we're successful, but even when we're not, it's still probably a good day if you're with some friends.
We have this Joe Flacco, Dear Joe. Let's just say it came out this week. How many of these do you buy?
For Flacco,
because you just said it for Flacco, so you're leading into it. You base it off if you know you can get him signed, right?
Right. Like right now, I know if he did come out on a cover this week or this month, he's with the Jets. So it's a 15-minute ride to the stadium. I could try him every single Sunday or go to their practice facility, try and get him, down there. If it's Bryce Harper, I'll pick up one for my collection, and that's it. Call it a day. I'll never get any extras signed. Maybe I'll buy some extras just to stash 20 years from now, and maybe they'll be worth $100 each unsigned. So that's the only reason I'd pick up extras.
If you spend $5 to $7 on the SI, what are the chances it goes up? Because some of them become, like the Supernatural Trout's like $300 to $400 now.
Right.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just they go out of circulation quickly or no one pays attention to them at the time. But, now with grading, I think that people are a little more aware of it. And anything that comes out with a superstar or a potential superstar, they load up on them and, the stock just dwindles. So they'll put them away for a rainy day, get them graded. And another group of collectors coming up every 5, 10, 20 years or every generation, and they're going to want those things.
Do you ever worry about Sports Illustrated stop with all the social media and the printing online, people read online? Do you ever worry that they're going to stop producing?
I don't worry. I kind of hope for it. It'll be my end game.
You'll retire?
I'll fill the holes that I need for my personal collection, but there'll be no more current issues for me to get. So it'll be a fun day,
Show me the book.
This is the coffee table book, the covers book, and then at some point they give me a little love.
There is no greater student of SI covers than Scott Smith, who has put together a collection of autograph covers that includes, by his calculation of autograph covers, 93%, nearly 3,000 issues published by the end of 2009. Of the 2,853 covers that have a human on them, Smith has 2,657 that are signed by at least one subject. So
this is about 13 years old now. I'm up to about 95% of the history of the magazine signed. I could probably get up to 97, 98% if I could get my last 15 Jordans, 20 Tigers, and 20 to 25 LeBrons done.
Do you think LeBron James or Michael Jordan will ever host a private signing?
I kind of doubt it. They've got $1 billion each. All three of them are billionaires, so
they could care
I don't
less.
think they need the money. It would be up to Upper Deck, who I think holds the exclusive for all three of those athletes, to pitch them the idea to send in items.
And you'd never buy signed Sports Illustrated that somebody else got signed?
Not for those three, no.
What about any of the others?
I have purchased a signed Clemente, some people that were deceased that I could never get. This is the unsigned stock. So if I know I'm going for a football team or the Heisman's or a golf tournament.
When's the last time you got her?
3 or 4 years ago. That's Venus. Serena. Very, very tough. Doesn't like to sign. Sports Illustrated Venus, another Serena.
So tell me about consignments.
So I'll put out an email blast to my fellow collectors, and they'll send me items that they want signed. I'll give them a price and let them know what I would charge them if I get it signed.
So these people already, do they prepay?
They don't prepay. They only pay if
After
I'm
sign.
successful in getting it signed.
So you're supposed
but they
to
know what the price is prior to sending it to me.
So you're going to get Jordan Lewis from the Cowboys on this if you can.
I'll try to.
And then how much they know.
Maybe
how
I'll
much.
charge the guy $20.
$20
just to help me
just like a help
pay
out.
for my day. Yep.
So we got Niners here. I'm obviously from Northern California. You got Nick Bosa here. You got Kyler.
Right.
Do you get Kyler on this?
On this one I would, because he's taking up 50% of the cover.
Is that your rule?
Yeah. If he's very noticeable, I'll get it done. It's a Nick Bosa cover, but I'll get Kyler on that. I've gotten Kyler on that in my own personal collection.
A big thing that he pulls off is the consignment isn't about, you're helping other collectors. That's the goal. A lot of collectors live in North Dakota. They live
outside areas. So you're helping them by putting in the time. You live in a prominent area and you also have access to private signings.
Right.
What's the goal there?
With the consignments, every team that comes in to play the Jets and Giants, they've got to stay at a hotel. I've been doing it for 40 years. I know where they stay. I'll take their pieces. All these collectors here sent in mini helmets. So this guy wants Jonah Williams on the Bengals. They come in week 3. I'll try and get them signed.
And they label that themselves. You don't touch that.
Correct.
How soon, do you tell everybody in the email list, hey, I'm going to be chasing, do you guys want to send anything in?
I've already, in June or July when the schedules come out, I'll send out a mass email to my database. They'll see what teams are coming in to play the Jets and the Giants. I don't go for the Patriots. I don't go for certain teams. The Bears come in twice. I'll only go for them once. but they know in advance as to who's coming in. So they'll go through the rosters, they'll see if they need anyone, they'll send me an email, I'll send them a quote. They'll either send me their items or they won't, but at least it's all open and done up front.
They can get the authentic autographs from you. They just have to email you. And the best way to contact you is email?
Email, sikingcollection@aol.com. Old school.
That's the best way.
Only way.
All right, everybody. That was the filming with the SI King, Scott Smith. You've known me since Autographs 101, all the good old days. You guys can follow him on Instagram or add him on Facebook, Scott Smith. Thank you so much for showing me the tour. I know you want me to get the heck out of here by now. We're starving. We're going to get some food. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. Comment down below, what was your favorite Sports Illustrated ever made? And also, what was one of your favorite stories from Scott? We'd love to hear in the comments, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.